Welcome to Conversations with a Couple of Crones. We invite you to join us as we gather around our hearth and talk about our journeys with the Gene Keys and our personal transformations. Welcome, everyone, to Conversations with a Couple of Crones. And we always start out this podcast, this whatever we are, with the question, where am I now? And where we are now is having a pajama party with our guide, Hayley Curtis. We have been doing this podcast now for over a year, and we have wanted to have Hayley on here ever since. But our times are all screwy. I'm in the US, Lizzie's in the UK, and Hayley's in Australia. And we haven't been together since she was living in New Zealand. And here we are. Hayley stayed up late. I got up early. And Lizzie's having a quote, pajama party nap.
I'm in my loungewear.
That's it. We're all in our loungewear. So let me let you know a little bit about Hayley. She magnetized us back, I don't even know what year it was, but she has been our guide for over 3 years in the Gene Keys. And she has her own YouTube channel. She has an Instagram. We'll put the links in the show notes here. And we actually found her through Instagram. And but what she has, the one that we love the most, is her membership, Gene Keys Unleashed, where we actually are guides in that, guides for the guide. So welcome, Hayley. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I just realized that this was our first time together live, because I feel like I'm with you all the time, because I speak to both of you almost every day. And so, oh my gosh, what a special occasion to all be together. And thank you for getting up early, Megan. And I don't think I have ever done a podcast at 9 p.m. I'm very much a morning gal. I'm a in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock kind of lady. You are the only two ladies that I'd stay up for, because I just love you so much.
Well, actually, that is kind of our subject today. How much we are attracted to each other. Yeah. Lizzie, do you have a question for him?
Yeah, so what we want to talk today about is fractal line magic. I'll share Richard's definition in the article that will go along with the podcast. But what we really want to talk about is your take on all of this, Hayley, because as Megan said, you know, we're both in your membership. We both joined your membership on exactly the same day. I do know the date, 26th of December, 2022. You know, so we met you and we met each other on the same day. And Megan was your first long-term client, I believe, and I was pretty close in there, following along on her heels. Just before we came on the podcast, I actually did a quick search, because, you know, I'm one for research, and I did a quick search on our Cauldron of Crones website. And we have talked about you in 82 different articles, videos, and podcasts on our website. And you are, of course, because we have a little section called the Crone Collective, where we honor the crones who have been a huge influence on us, and it's you know, amazing crones. But you're at the top, even though you are an honorary crone. You are not a crone chronologically, but you are most definitely a crone when it comes to wisdom and farsightedness, because crone means one who sees far. You know, so it's fair to say that you are the lodestone that holds this fractal that Megan and I are in together. So we would just love to hear what your take is on what this is all about, and what is the magic behind those fractal lines.
Oh, Oh, it is just pure magic, isn't it? There's no other word for it. And I mean, that date, the 26th of December, the pulse then would have been my vocation. Gene Key 58 would have been the pulse then, like the bliss would have been the pulse.
Wow.
That shifts into the pulse late on Christmas Day, I'm pretty sure, on the 25th. So the 26th would have been Jinky 58, which just feels so special. It feels
Yes.
so special because the two of you have become cornerstones in my service. You've become cornerstones. Sorry, I'm just putting my phone on silent. You've become cornerstones in my vocation. And so the fact that I magnetized both of you in on the same day into the same place and to witness to witness the two of you finding each other through that fractal, like you just, oh, the magic of it. But anyway, fractal, the way that I sort of define fractal is soul family. There is all, you can really get into the lofty stuff around fractals, how it's like, it's the fractal nature of the universe. And it's like, like when we look at a flower and it's just like, you see the fractal nature, you see, the way that our veins look is we see it in the roots of a tree, the way that our eye looks, you cut a carrot open, there it is. Like that's the fractal nature of our universe, that everything moves in these fractal patterns. And I feel like our souls that are here at this time, we are part of these fractals and we're destined to find each other in certain ways so that we can play the role that we came here to play, because higher purpose is never accessed in isolation. Our fractal is such an important part of that. And, our culture gene key is the gene key in our profile that really has that magnetism that brings our fractal in. And as our fractal gathers, these are the people that we are meant to be alongside. We are meant to be mentored by or be mentors to. We are meant to serve or be served by. We are meant to just journey alongside each other as allies as we refine our piece in the collective puzzle. Like your fractal enhances your life and enhances your higher purpose. And when you come across someone from your fractal, because you feel like you've known them for lifetimes. Like when you say that it was December 2022 that we even started to come into each other's lives, that is the most ridiculous thing ever to my heart and soul. I'm like, no way, I've known you for 300 years. That's what 3,000 years even.
Yeah.
That's what fractal feels like to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And like you said about the culture sphere, because I've been doing a bit of like reading around the subject to prepare for today.
Mm.
Because the attraction sphere is important as well. The attraction is drawing things into your life. So what's the sort of interplay or the difference between the role your attraction sphere plays and your culture sphere?
Great question. Well, I think the pathways on either side of each one really speak to the role that those spheres play. So the attraction sphere sits between the pathway of dharma and the pathway of karma. And it's more about, like, our attraction sphere is the sphere before we enter the wounding map of our childhoods, where we go back in time. And so our attractor sphere is more about attracting the right relationships, opportunities, situations to us for us to heal our wounds, for us to be triggered. Like our attractor sphere brings triggers into our life to trigger us into awakening through revealing our wounds and our patterns. Whereas the culture sphere sits between the pathway of initiative and the pathway of growth, and it's in the Pearl sequence, and it's all about the magnetizing of the people that are fit for your service, for magnetizing the people that are here to be allies in what you're here to bring to the world, instead of the people that you attract to through your attractor sphere, who are part of the healing of your wounds. And the people that you attract to through your attractor sphere can be really difficult relationships. They can be really triggering relationships. They can be very painful experiences because it's part of that karma. Whereas the fractal that gathers around you through your culture sphere these are the people that are like, whoa, this is spurring on my creativity and my service. And we're meant to be on this path together. And they're, you can tell that they're on that same fractal line, that their service goes alongside yours in some way. Whereas, yeah, in the attraction sphere, some of the people you attract in, it doesn't feel like that. But I tell you what,
No.
it's got so much purpose in terms of the healing of our wounding.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I like that word allies.
Mm.
That's a really good way of describing it, because that's what it feels like. It feels like um, you've got these, comrades walking along beside
Mm.
you. And I've been thinking that. I mean, I really felt that when we were doing Devoted with you. So there's 12 of us all making this golden path journey, all with completely different lives and all over the world, and making our own lone solitary journey, but doing it side by side with by the with these women that we really belonged with. And it
Mm.
just, yeah, they did feel like allies,
Mm.
definitely.
Mm. Yeah, and just it's like that heart recognition, that soul recognition. That's just like, oh yeah. And sometimes you'll end up in like a deep romance with people from your fractal, and sometimes they just play this role in like they're there. And so much of your fractal, you'll never know that they exist. I believe that too. Like our fractal is like reverberated across the world. And I believe that as we step more into the truth of who we're meant to be, and we step more into the truth of like our style, the pulse at the moment and our authenticity, it impacts our fractal whether they are in our orbit or not. I think that
Right.
as we pour that higher purpose energy, as we allow it to pour through our lives, I think it kind of rises the river for the whole fractal. I haven't necessarily read that anywhere. I just feel that in my soul.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
Mm.
sometimes, though, so let's say the attraction sphere, like my husband, I mean, is he really in my fractal?
Hmm.
Because he's the one who serves as that, karmic. I'm working through all my karmic relationship stuff with him, but
Mm.
he doesn't understand anything of what I'm doing. And yet, in a way, he supports me in my service by literally
Mm.
supporting me, for one thing.
Mm.
And he
Mm.
built me an art hut. And, do they have to be this kind of connection that you and I have, all three of us have, to
Mm.
be part of that fractal,
Great question. Hey, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know
I don't
either. It's
know.
an interesting
I don't
question,
know.
though, about it. I mean, how big is your fractal? I mean, and
Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
I mean, like with our husbands who we're all in deeply loving marriages, like I'd like to think that Bevan's part of my fractal. Like he feels like he's soul family to me. He
Right,
is
right,
like my deepest companion. And yes, he's a big part of like helping to reveal wounds and things because he's my primary relationship.
right.
Um, I do feel like Bevan is part of that for me,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah,
there's other people that I think of that my attraction sphere has clearly brought my way that I'm like, that doesn't feel
right,
the same as that
right.
fractal energy. Yeah.
Yeah,
But to be honest, I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know the answer
yeah.
to that
It's
question.
well,
And I love
what
the
I
mystery. There's so much mystery in the fractal.
there's so much mystery in all of this work. What I've realized as I've been writing articles lately, it's like I will write an article and then I'll pose a question and then I'll go, oh, but I have no idea what the answer to this question is. But the
No.
interest and the enjoyment and the contemplation is in asking the question and then just
It
saying
is.
now, so that's just going to sit with me for a while. So that's going to sit
Yeah.
with me for a while. I feel closer to one of my sons than I do to the other. Does that mean one's in my fractal and one isn't? Or I have more karmics, more wounding to work with my other son?
Mm.
And in
Mm.
truth, if you really think about it, those people who come in helping you to crack through your karmic wounding, in a way, they are probably the closest to you in your fractal because that's what you need, you know? You know, that's what you need. And to become a greater person, maybe maybe they made a contract with you at the beginning of your life to say, I am going to be the worst burr in your side until you get this, right? And you're going to hate that person for your whole life. But then all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, shit, now I get
They
it.
actually an ally.
Yeah, they're actually an ally. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it makes you think of like in terms of those people in the fractal, like I was talking with Tam Maya about this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I think it was when I just had that Zoom with her just for us to just have a Zoom, and we got on to talking about fractals, and she was saying, she was kind of describing fractal like when you come across someone and you realize that you're both kind of working on the same thing. You know how she had all the gene keys had already come alive in her before she met Richard, and she got the pull that, okay, you need to go find this man because he's doing the thing that you're meant, and like that's fractal.
Right.
Like, and I feel like the three of us, that's sort of the common thread, that our souls had made a commitment that this is what our life is about. This is what we're working on. We're each working on this little piece. And then we came together and we're like, are we all working on this same piece?
Yeah.
Should we maybe do this together?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's fractal through the pearl.
Right.
Maybe there's like the fractal moving through the pearl, and then there's the fractal moving in other ways. But I really
Yes.
feel that, like, for us, we are the fractal moving through the pearl.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
because
I mean,
Richard,
you
sorry,
know,
Megan.
I was only going to say that you actually have line 2 in your culture, Lizzie.
Yeah,
And so that partnership of you and I, just it's like it's a flower just ready to blossom.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I was reading in the Pearl teachings, Richard says it's traveling through the fractal lines, the grace, and it's opening and popping people and opening doorways and possibilities and opportunities that have been waiting, that have
Mm.
been closed and dormant up until now. And I
Mm.
feel like I feel like that's what happened when I came into your fractal and we became this part of
Mm.
like your fractal. It was just like
Mm.
loads of things just popped open and loads of doorways opened, and it's amazing, really.
And
And I
I
know that
love.
like the pearl is really, that's where
Oh,
you live, isn't it?
I really do, don't I? I just love it. I just love it so much. I was even saying to Bevan in the car, I think it was just yesterday, how I was like, oh, they're bringing me back for the Venus and the Sage. I was like, they better bloody bring me back for the Pearl.
I was thinking the same
Yeah,
thing.
I love the Pearl. But when what you read that Richard had said about fractals through the Pearl teachings, it just shows how the pathway of initiative leads there. How until someone in the fractal takes the initiative to put their passion out there, until someone takes the initiative in the fractal to share their passion and their love out into the ethers, those opportunities lay dormant because we don't know each other exists while we're dulling ourselves down or keeping ourselves quiet or being like, oh no, I'm too afraid to say that or to do that or to create that. And then we can't find each other. It is only through initiative that fractals form. And I just love that. I just love that energetically. And I love that it's about taking the initiative before the people are there instead of waiting for the people to be there. And now I'm safe to take the initiative. But initiative is all about courage. And I think that the reward for your courage is your fractal. That is the ultimate reward. And the culture is the catalyst gene key for prosperity. And sure, like financial prosperity, yes, comes through there in beautiful ways. But I think we start to deeply prosper the moment that these people start making their way into our lives. And we're like, oh, like that soul connection. There's nothing more prosperous than that. But it all comes from initiative. And you guys know how much I love the pathway of initiative.
Yeah, I know, like you were saying, Megan, with that line too, in that I've got in my culture,
Mhm.
that from these partnerships, like this partnership that Megan and I have, and the partnership I have with you as well, Hayley, with the connection that we have, and with like with Trina, all of these things, these are my prosperity. This is, it's got absolute prosperity has got, and success have got nothing at all to do with money or metrics. It's all to do, this makes me feel like the richest, luckiest woman in the world, because not only have I got like the perfect husband, the perfect partnership there, I've got the best friends in the world. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, does it?
So good. And then there's Megan with her line 6 culture, just like in love with nature.
Yeah.
I'm prosperous. I live on my farm. And just
Yeah.
getting to be the overseer, like,
Yeah.
I see you, Megan, as kind of like you see further into what I'm doing than what I'm doing, and you're sort of like this you oversee it in a way that you kind of hold the vision for it in a way. I can't even put words to it really, but that's like I feel your line 6 nature doing that, and then I feel Lizzie's line 2 nature, like whenever I need help with like a document or something, like boom, I'm like, Lizzie, can you help me out? Boom, there she is, like my little partnership, like right
Yeah.
there. And then
Yeah.
me with the line 4, of course, I'm the one that's like community building.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's like holding the community calls and connecting people with each other. I mean, you
Right.
two, you're
Yeah.
bloody best soul
Yeah.
friends, like, and that's my role as the line 4, and I love that
Yeah.
in the way that we have come together as a fractal, and you can just see those different roles that no one's told us that we had to play, but we just
Do it
naturally do,
naturally.
and we self-organize within those roles, and there's no expectations, there's no there's I don't know any other word for it, like
Well, there's synergy within that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
For those who don't have either 6 or 2 or 4, how would a 1, a 3, a 5, how would they experience this?
mm. A one culture, is an interesting one. Like they want to obviously, like no matter what line you have, we all need each other. Every line
Right.
needs each other's line. Like because the line 1 being the individual doesn't mean that you have to be alone forever and you can never work with anyone. But the line 1 kind of has that time in solitude and likes to kind of work on things on their own, and then they come in to the group to add their
They're genius. Yeah.
their genius, and then they'll be back doing their own thing, and then they'll be back in the group to do the thing, and or they'll have an idea, and then maybe the line 4 or the line 5 runs with it. If there was a line 5 culture, the line 5 culture might find it difficult to not be the leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
Line 5 culture might find it difficult to not be in control. Can be difficult for a line 5 if they're not the one running everything and behind the scenes. And like I've got a line 5 life's work, and so like I know that for me, like whenever I'm in something and I'm not the one putting it all together and running it, like I've got a lot to kind of sit with, and okay, what is it like to not be the leader? So a line 5 would be learning as part of this particular scenario, say if
Right.
they're
Right.
right here
Right.
with us right now, it would be about bringing their practicality and their efficiency and really that synergy. Like I feel like synergy really lives in the line five, you know, just that deep trust in everybody. And then the line three would just, they would have so many awesome ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
The line three would be here, there, and everywhere. Debbie's our line three culture.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like and Debbie's there, and then Debbie's over here, and then Debbie's here, and then she's over there, and then she's back again, and then she's over there, and it's
Yeah.
like that's the beauty of the line three. And when they're there, it's just magnificent. And when they're not there, you know, they're doing something magnificent that will enhance the group again when they're here. You know,
Right.
um,
Right.
I just love,
Interesting.
I just love the culture lines.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah, it's funny when you were talking there. It's like I I imagine you like your line four. I see you as like the matchmaker.
Yeah.
You know, because you do, you bring people together, you know, and you can tell, like you know, you said to me really, really early on that I really ought to get to know this woman Trina that you had
Yeah.
started working with,
Oh,
you know,
I
and it
just
was
knew
like,
you two were
and we just,
soul
you know,
tied.
absolutely just talk the same because we've got that same activation sequence. We just, you know,
Mm,
talk the same language, and it was even like in Devoted when you were putting the groups together, you always seem to put like the right Voxer groups together. Like when
mm,
you put me and Monique and Maddie Keck together, and it was
mm,
really vulnerable. But because
mm,
all three of us had had similar
mm,
types of, not the same experiences, but that
mm.
similar type of experience, that we were safe to share our vulnerability.
Yeah.
So you're really good at that. And Megan, yeah, you're right. Megan with that line six of seeing the bigger vision, you know, the bigger picture, because I feel like I know that like Megan is a Gene Keys guide, but she's not doing it as a business. But I feel
Mm,
like she's my other guide. You know, you're my guide
mm,
and Megan's my guide, because I will
mm,
talk to Megan about stuff, and then she just comes in with this like, yes, but
mm,
actually, and she's not telling me, you know,
mm,
she's not teaching me or telling me I ought to be doing something or even like explicitly guiding me, but she's always guiding me. Every conversation we have,
mm.
I come away with, there's just wisdom. There's just all these nuggets of
Yes.
wisdom that Megan drops in
Yes.
every single conversation.
All that I have learned about line six, I have learned through Megan.
Yeah.
I
Like
have five
Megan
of
has
them.
been, you have been my like. I remember Megan when Megan first signed up for Ignite Your Life. She was my first ever immersion Gene Keys client. So I'd been doing Gene Keys sessions, but then I opened up these immersion spaces, and Megan was the first one that took a spot. And I remember looking up her profile straight away, being like, okay, like what's her profile? And I saw she was a Line Six Life's work, and I was like, shit. I was like, oh no. I don't get the line six. How am I going to do this? I was like, oh no, I maybe I'm not ready, and I like questioned myself. I was like, but then I just felt that trust in it, and Megan taught me what line six was, and through getting to know Megan so deeply, I was able to, like, I came into that experience with Megan so curious to be like, okay, I'm going to let myself kind of just immerse myself in your inner world and find out what this line six actually is.
Yeah.
And oh my God, like in 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I get it now. And then for the last, you know, couple of years, I feel like you were the way I learned it. But then I've been able to guide you in understanding that six that was even in you,
Correct.
but you're the one that I learned it through.
Isn't that
But
funny?
you were the last one to find out, even though you were where it began.
I know. It's
Does that make sense?
well, you know, with it's been validated by being seen, the
Mm,
line six, because
mm,
it, you know, it's six wants to escape, so
mm,
in its shadow. And so when when it's validated, it shows back up again. And it says, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
important,
Yeah.
you know, I can do this magic. That's
Yeah.
such a gift, you know, because that's
Mm.
just the way my mind thinks. That's just the way I come across. This is the way I relate to the universe, is to take
Mm.
this huge big picture and then, well, my life's work sage word is integration, and then integrate it all, weave it all together. And so
Mm.
Lizzie will say this, and this as I'm listening to her in bed, you know, in the morning after she, you know, because she's been up for 7 hours. And I'll go, oh my gosh, you know, I remember her saying this yet the other day, and then, oh, and then there's this, and there's this. Oh my God, look at this, Lizzie. And you know, and I
Yeah.
get all excited about it. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, it's the way we are naturally, these expressions, you know, and to have it be heard and validated is,
Mm.
you know, it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
beautiful. And Lizzie, by the time we got to your line 6, all the way up in your core, I knew what I was doing by then. So
Yeah.
you had a great line 6 experience.
And I have learned a lot about line 6 through Lizzie's core line 6, because I don't have 6 there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so much fun to,
Mm.
there's so much
Mm.
fun to be in a, I mean, we're talking fractal magic here,
Mm-hmm.
because this is actually the fractal at work, right?
Mm. Yeah.
By
The
holding each
reciprocity
other's
and
energy
everything.
and the reciprocity and the
Yeah.
mirroring of each
Oh,
other.
oh.
And,
The
and
amount that I have learned from the two of you that goes on to serve people is just out of this world. Like, because of that deep connection and how deeply we have each let each other into our lives, how deeply we trust each other, I feel like I've got to kind of map out your entire inner world. And in that inner world is the entire world. And it is so helpful for me to take the map of your inner world and utilize the nuggets that we found there. And they become keys for other people's inner realms. It's
yeah,
just, it's profound, especially because I've journeyed with both of you through the entire profile and multiple times in multiple places. Like, going to the depths of that with one person, you literally are through the whole Jinky profile. You get to map out
hmm,
everything about the person, and once you've mapped out the entirety of a person, you've actually touched upon the unity of everything. And so to understand one person is to understand all people to a degree, through
yes,
definitely through the lens of the gene keys. And so the amount, like, and yeah, that's the reciprocity. It's like, sure, I might be the guide in this scenario, but it is a biofeedback
it
loop
is.
where the service massively runs both ways, and over time that flow back and forward is just enhanced, enriched,
Yeah,
and now we're just all best friends,
yeah,
and we have been for a long time.
yeah, yeah, we have.
Well, I want to ask you guys,
Mm.
like, what, how has finding your fractal changed your life? How has it enhanced your life? Like, what has it brought into your life that maybe you never expected to have it at this stage? Both of you in your 7th decade on the planet. It is your seventh. When you're in your 60s, that's your 7th
Yeah.
decade, right? Yeah. Okay. Just making sure.
You go, Lizzie.
Oh, well, it's it's changed everything for me because I have, I've been a loner and I've been alone. Even when I've been in relationships, I've felt alone for my whole life since I was a child, and I never thought that, this for me, this is my dream. This is the dream that I've always had, that I would have real true friends that I can have real conversations with, and they get me and they see me and they hear what I'm saying and they understand, like they're talking the same language, you know, and it's just, I mean, it's changed everything for me. I would not have believed this in a million years. You know, if you'd said to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have just, I actually wrote something the other day and I would have, if you'd said to me that I would have this in my 60s, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I would have thought you were being really cruel and like dangling this thing that could never be real for me, to have this sort of connection with people and just to know that it's real, you know. You know, you're not, it's not, there's no artifice and no pretense. We're completely real with each other. And I mean, I've heard you talk about, Hayley, you know, like your soul family and how you know that you could go anywhere and show up at someone's door and they would take you and they would take you in, and we would, you know. And that's the thing, you know, we might never meet in real life. I think we will,
Hogpot.
but that you know, it just to have this is, for me, this is just like, this is a dream. This is my dream life. I mean, when I came in on that December the 26th, 2022, when I came into the journey home, I was home that first day. I mean, I know, like, you had offered that 1 week free to do your journaling challenge, and I knew in that first day, I was looking around and I was like, this is what I've been looking for my whole bloody life, and this is where I belong. And like, even though I didn't know you, you know, I knew who you were because I had been following you on Instagram. But I started doing your journaling journeys and I just went, I just like shared like the depths of my soul with you and whoever else wanted to read it. But I mean, I was sharing it with you with I had no doubt that I was safe to do that. I think that's a big part of it for me, because, you know, we've worked together really closely, and that feeling of a lack of safety has been such a huge wound for me. And I feel safe. I feel safe with you. And I mean, Megan is just, she is the best friend I could ever, you know, I couldn't have dreamed her up in a million years.
She's pretty special, isn't she?
She's very special.
Oh, you guys.
My best friend. I mean, it's just like bloody marvelous.
Oh, so good. I remember your first, it must, because I went away 2022, we went away for New Year's. So it was obviously only like 3, 4, 5 days after you joined the membership, Lizzie. I remember sitting there doing a little bit of work while we were on holiday. And I turned to Bevan, I was like, Bevan, look at the length of these comments that this woman is leaving. And I was like, how freaking amazing is this? I was like, Bevan, look, she's saying that, like, it just sounds like I'm speaking directly into her soul. I was like, oh gosh, I'm so excited to connect with her deeper. I remember saying that to him, and he looked at the comments and he was like, Jesus, maybe you should tell her to do shorter comments. And I was like, no, Bevan, I love it. I was like, this is the best thing ever. He's like, come on. Oh, so good. What about you, Megan?
Well, I have to say that it brought me back to my humanity, because I too was a loner, and I too was a hermit in the woods, and I didn't want people around me except maybe my husband. That's it, you know. And I didn't believe in people, and I had very few friends, and finding my fractal just opened me up, you know. And it's funny, I said it brought me back to my humanity, which is my EQ, which is why I'm crying. I mean, it's the emotional release of so many years of trying to do it alone and being alienated and not feeling understood. And, that's very much line 6, which we've also already talked about, but that I found a place where I belong. I think fractals bring belonging, and ever since, the beginning, and I was attracted not to the journaling, but to the Gene Keys part on that day. But as soon as I started working with you, and then just understanding through guides for the Gene Keys are meant to allow you to guide yourself, right? That's what being a guide in the Gene Keys is. So you just have this gift for allowing us to guide ourselves, and that trust that you were talking about, Lizzie, and that safety, and little by little, you and I reparented myself through the Venus sequence, and it just, at the same time, getting a sense of belonging, and at the very same time getting a sense of individuality. They weren't meshed together anymore. They weren't codependent anymore. There was this sense of this is me in my own genius, and look at, I'm part of this unity, which is also kind of me, and it's okay to be an individual, and it's okay to be part of a group. All of it is safe and all of it is allowed. So, yeah.
The fractal magic was strong to get someone who doesn't want to journal to join a journaling membership.
Was. I know.
And it just because it was your line 6, you could see further. You knew that wasn't what it was going to be forever. I remember you saying that to me very early on, and you were like, I feel like I've gotten in at the ground floor of what this is going to be. And so you held the vision of the fractal before I could see it.
I feel like I helped you redefine what contemplation was, that it wasn't just journaling also, because I'm a hopeless journaler. I just can't seem to journal at all, even when I make it a goal.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't contemplate. That's for sure.
Oh, God, no. Yeah. Oh, we've just all learned so much from each other.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
Do we have another question, Lizzie?
I do have one, because I was reading. This is a thing that Richard says. I did loads of
All
homework.
hail Richard, the king of our fractal.
Our fractal daddy.
He says, when an awakened woman gives birth to a child, then that child will come into the world as itself, and what's more, the child will be brought up without the full conditioning of the shadow. So he goes on and talks about breaking ancestral conditioning. What if, so this is my question to you, Hayley, what if the awakening occurs either after the childbearing years, or in women who choose not to or can't have children? How do we pass things along the fractal line? What different ways are there of doing that? Because I feel like, I was already on the journey. I would say that probably having a child was what started me on the journey to think that I'm worthwhile because I made this child. But I definitely did not come into what I would consider my awakening until I'm in my 60s and in my crone years and the childbearing, I've done the child rearing bit, so what ways do we pass it down the fractal line when we're not having children?
Oh, and this applies to all of us. The two of you have had children, but now in your awakening years, that's not something that's happening. And as we all know, I'm not bearing any children. And I think that the timeline of our opening is so spot on that there is, I mean, I can only speak to my own experience, right? I know for me, in my experience, that by me personally, this is just me, Hayley. I'm not saying this is not applied to anybody else. This is just my life. I know for me that by not bearing a child of my own, I'm going to have a bigger impact on the transformation of the world.
Hmm.
In my circumstance,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with my energy and my chronic health issues, I know that if I was to have a child, like that would be, which is beautiful, and that would be my choice. And then everything else that I do, I would likely have to let go of. And I've made the choice to not take that route for many, many reasons. But in making that choice, this has been such a big part that's been in my contemplation. Like there's been a lot of grief in that choice, and there's been a lot of considering exactly what you were just saying, Lizzie, like, oh my gosh, am I going to let go of the opportunity to do that, to be in these years of transforming so much, and I could have the opportunity to bear the child and to do all of that, but it just keeps coming back to me that there are so many ways to have that same impact on this world. And my path, and for the two of you now, our paths are impacting through our service in such a way that the ripple effects are impacting the women who are having the children.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
You know, like instead of being the physical mother myself, I would rather be a mother archetype to the mothers.
Yeah.
And to get to have that impact on these beautiful women who are in able bodies to bear children and who have the yearning in their hearts to bear children, I believe that my my journey and the journey of both of you is having an impact on those women.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and we birth more than just children.
Mm-hmm.
We birth creative babies.
Well, we have that, and that's a physical manifestation. But also, I'm thinking it just came to me that by expanding our frequency and by raising our frequency, I think there is probably a very mysterious, very yin aspect to it that it vibrates within our DNA down to our children and to our grandchildren. I can see that happening, and certainly it's going to happen anytime I come into contact with my sons or my grandchildren. They will feel that effect as well. But I can't help but think that just the ripples of our frequencies are affecting the whole, which affects our
And we
fractal.
learn that in the
Yeah.
purpose sphere, right? Like our highest contribution to this earth is the frequency from our internal state of being. It's like it's so much of our impact goes unseen, and there are realms at play
Yeah.
that we haven't even considered,
Yeah.
let alone understood. And that's where with things like that, I just always come back to like the trust in the timing and the trust in the purpose and all, and the trust in the master plan, and the trust in benevolence, the trust in goodness, and the trust in our hearts leading the way. That I don't hope that that will have an impact. I know in my bones, and I see it. I see it. And the way that this stuff ripples is insane. It's insane. Like, what do they say? Like 6 degrees of separation. And in this technological age, I'm sure it's less than 6 degrees of separation. And you've touched everyone on rocking planet. It's
Yeah.
like, but that's the thing, when we're moving in fractals, we don't have to touch we don't have to heal the world. We don't have to carry it all on our shoulders. We don't have to try and do it all. Because when you're part of a fractal and then there's other fractals, like, you just trust in your peace.
Yes.
Again, that comes back to the synergy. It's like, I don't need to try and play any other role other than the one that I'm playing. I don't need to try and be anything but who I am. I don't need to, I'm never going to let anyone make me feel less than because I'm not going to be able to have children in this life, or that wasn't as impactful as something else. Like, I just, when it's fractal magic, when it's the depth of this work, it's like, you can't miss your own life. And the role that you're meant to play in it. I think that women who bear children, women who don't bear children, women who are past childbearing years, I think that we are all having such an impact on the transformation that is happening and that is still to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
What it made me think, as I was sitting with the question, I was thinking, it's that thing you said earlier, Megan, about self-parenting. I actually know for a fact that I am a better mother to myself than I was to my son. And I can at least, I can admit now, even though I used to beat myself up for years for not being a good enough mom, I was a good mom. I am a good mom. However, I'm a much better mother to myself than I ever could have been to him, or to any child. And that is something that this work has taught me. And I was even thinking about when you and I first started working together, Hayley. And we were, I think we'd had just like the life's work call. And the mother issues that I've got with my mother. And you gave me all these bridging statements right at the very beginning. Like, we were only a week or two into the journey, I think, and you gave me these bridging statements all about being a mother to myself, and they were lovely and great words, but it's like, now I really get it. Now I really understand what you were saying to me, because I am learning to be a mother to myself. I mean, you said a beautiful thing in your last YouTube video, where you were saying, if it was your child who was exhausted, would you tell them to push through and keep going, or would you tell them to rest? And it's like, that's what we're learning to do. We're learning to be the best mother to ourselves that we can be.
And then our inner child goes through that transmutation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that lives through us.
Yep.
And that impacts others, which then lives through, like, the ripples.
Yeah.
It's just insane. And it's so beautiful. And it's not that we're special. Like, the ripples come from everyone. Like, and this is the thing, we don't have to do it all. All we ever need to do is be ourselves and take the initiative.
Yeah.
And
we'll take the initiative and then receive. Oh, yeah, you said it. Trust.
Yeah, and then
reception,
trust, yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Like, that initiative, like, even, us being together now, there is my initiative of building the spaces that I've built and putting it out there. And then there's your initiative of getting out there, being like, okay, I want to find a place, or I'm going to try this. Oh, I saw this. Okay, I'm going to take the initiative. I'm going to sign up for that. And it's like 3 people taking initiative, and then worlds collide. And worlds can collide in the most magnificent of ways, and in ways that, we can get so caught up on trying to figure out how to find our people that we end up doing it inauthentically versus just having fun and following our hearts. And it's wild how people can find their way. So the two of you found your way through the same thing, but then different people find their way in from different things. Like I've even got a Gene Key session on Monday, and I've been chatting in the DMs with this lady, and like, well, like it feels very fractal. And she found me through that stupid reel that me and Tracy made that went viral that has nothing to
Nothing
do
to
with
do with the
Gene
Gene
Keys. It's had like 350,000 views or something. Like it's just us being dickheads in the kitchen, just being ourselves. We were having the biggest laugh and we just popped it up. And this woman, she messaged me and she goes, oh, and I actually found you. She goes, funniest thing, I found you through this funny reel and I sent it to my best friend. And she goes, and I send her reels all the time and I never go back to look at them. But then for some reason, I came back to look at it and then looked at your profile to see what you do. And she goes, and then I was captivated by Gene Keys, looked up her profile and she's like, I feel peace, for the first time in so long and all this stuff. And I'm having a Gene Key session with her on Monday. We've been talking and I'm like, fractals work like that.
Yeah.
It's not just, okay, I've got to figure out what business I'm going to do. And now I'm going to market that business. And now I'm going to find my people. You've just got to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
And follow your heart tugs and have the courage to be passionate. And passionate doesn't mean loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like passionate doesn't mean that you have to be out there. Look at me, I'm doing all this stuff. It's just to be, to have the courage to follow the direction of your own feet. There we are. We're back at initiative again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll never shut up about initiative. Okay, guys.
Oh. I'm sure we could talk about this even longer, but I think Hayley's probably going to start fading soon.
Yes.
So
bedtime, Hayley.
I am unusually wired for 10
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to be able to sleep after this. I'm too bloody excited. This is why I don't do calls. Like I don't take Gene Key session stuff late at night because I know
you're turned on. Yeah.
I know. It's that the vocation of vitality comes through me the moment that I get to talk about this stuff. It's just hard to put back in the box.
And then your culture key is magnetism, for goodness sakes, right?
The magnet is on. And like zoom, zoom, zoom.
All sorts of people are going to come into this one.
I was gonna say about fractal about us and the fractal nature is like the sense of humor. Yeah, I feel like that is something that just it's something so magnetic in a fractal. I think is that sense of humor, and I've found that like. We've got such a similar sense of humor. I've got such a similar sense of humor to Richard Rudd. I've got a similar sense of humor to Tam Mayo, or like, even like when I've spoken to different people like in Gene Keys or different, Trina and Lizzie Pickles, Debbie, like Monique, Susan, like all these people that are just, we always just have such a laugh.
Yeah.
And I think that is very strong in our particular fractal. And I think that's like, because let's be honest, you're not going to be magnetized to me
if you don't have a good sense of humor. Yeah. Well, you have the duck. You have the duck as your vocation, for God's sake. The biggest laugher ever.
You might have a little picture here with its phone and it's like, hello, this is Duck.
Hello, this is Doc. I'm here to make you laugh in a very mundane way because I'm just this funny little critter. We do always end, though, with more whimsy. I know we've just had some whimsy, but Lizzie came up with a whimsical question for all three of us.
Okay, so Megan doesn't know this either. Okay, so if you were able to magic up a fractal, so that you could actually choose the people who were in your fractal. You can choose one living person and you can choose one dead person, okay, to be in your fractal. Who would you choose?
Oh my God, I'm going to have the most gangster fractal ever. And living Richard Rudd,
Yeah.
dead Jesus. I want Richard Rudd, I want Jesus. That would be like, that would be peak fractal, wouldn't it? That would be such peak. Could you imagine the conversations that Richard Rudd and Jesus would have with each other? Could
know,
you
right?
imagine? I feel like that would just be the ultimate. Yes. What a great question.
What about you, Megan?
Oh, man. Well, Hayley, you.
Me. I didn't know we could choose each other. I feel bad for picking Richard over you.
In your fractal.
Oh, you can't choose anybody who's already in your fractal. Okay, you didn't tell me that rule. Okay.
Jesus and Richard Rudd are in my fractal.
Exactly. I mean, how far back are we going here? No.
I am a direct descendant of the Messiah.
Well, I've always thought of myself as one of your disciples, so that fits. I would. Okay, I'm going to go dead first then. Hildegard of dead. Hildegard of Bingen. Hildegard of Bingen. Who is that?
Yeah,
she was an abbess from like really, really long time ago, and she was a naturalist. And do you know who she is, don't you, Lizzie?
Yeah.
Hildegard of Bingen. So she was a nun who was very ahead of her time. So she was probably line 6. And she wrote, we still have her writings, and it's a lot of herb lore, a lot of natural
Richard
stuff.
has quoted her a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then, my first thought actually was Richard when you said that. Yeah. Well, what about you?
I'm so in love with him.
Well, my two are both authors. So dead would be Tolkien, because he's got the same. Well, he's got the same gene key activation keys. I think he's got the same order as Trina. But he's got the same activation. He's got the same activation sequence keys as me, and of course, like Lord of the Rings has, it's my favorite book, and and it informs so much of the mythic story that goes on in my head as I am diving into my gene keys. So he definitely him, and living, Robin Wall Kilmerer. She wrote Braiding Sweetgrass. Oh. She's a Native American biologist, botanist, and writer. And she writes about and teaches about reciprocity. So she uses science and Native American teachings that she weaves. She literally braids them together and talks about the reciprocity between us and the earth and Gaia and all living things. And I would love to sit down and talk to her. And I just think she would love the gene keys. I mean, she probably is into the gene keys, I would say. So
how awesome.
I would choose them. Yeah. And I don't have to choose Richard or Jesus or Hildegard. Because you two have got them. So
that's right. So then now all of these are in our fractal. Yeah. I love that.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. Well, how in love we are with the gene keys. We've got to be in Richard's fractal. We are. I think we are. How could you not be when this is like, it's like the piece of poetry that was written upon your soul long before we incarnated into these bodies. Like, it is such, when the gene keys speak to you, they freaking speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fractal magic, you know. That first time that I heard Richard talking about my life's work gene key, and I was like, I wrote that word for
Yeah.
word already. Like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we all have had that kind of experience
Absolutely.
with the gene keys, and that's the whole point of fractal, that then he has gathered people like us and all of these other incredible people that are in love with the gene keys, and we just keep, you know, keep
Yeah.
spreading the magic, keep spreading the magic.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, thank you, Hayley, so much for joining us today.
Oh,
And
yes. Thank
I would
you.
love to invite you back maybe in 6 months, you know, when you feel like you can stay awake again.
Oh my gosh, it's such a joy to be able to find a time and to just, you know, you only live once. It's a bit of a YOLO moment. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, we absolutely have to do it again, because it's just such a delight just to be together
It is.
on screen, the three
It
of
is.
us.
Yeah.
It's
What a
so
joy.
fun.
What a joy.
And
Oh.
thank you to our listening audience for another beautiful share. Yeah. So we love you all, and we will see you next time.
Bye.